right, guys, welcome to another very special episode. I know I say that about every guest, but this one is for real. I really mean it. I'm definitely getting the same vibes as when we had Duncan Trussell on the show because similar to the way that we, you know, had him come on and it was something that we were like, I really want this. I really want this. This lovely gentleman who's joining us today is somebody that for 4 years now has been one of my most desired guests on our show. So we are joined by the amazing Dakota Wint, and this is an amazing, God, I don't even know what to call it. Synchronicity, manifestation. Yeah, just the fact that you're here with us today is like, really awesome. So what's up,
Yeah, that's
Dakota?
nice. Thank you so much for that. I also love Duncan, so I'm happy I see Duncan also as like this glimmering, just psychedelic orb out there, So I love Duncan, and yeah, he's a big inspiration of mine. He was one of the big reasons actually that got me connected to Ram Dass.
Oh,
It's
cool.
a weird little entanglement spider web, but I had been a Ram Dass fan already. Like just if you're a hippie or you're into psychedelics, you find Ram Dass. And I had been also just a fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, and Duncan was a guest on there always, and especially in the earlier days. And he would mention Ram Dass all the time, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool, that there's just like a guy on the JRE talking about Ram Dass. And he would talk about the retreats. And one time I just sent him a message on Twitter, Duncan, maybe like almost 10 years ago now, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of poor, but like I would love to come to these retreats. How does that work? I'm a YouTuber, can you do something for me? And he was like, just email this guy Raghu and and cross your fingers. And I did, and I ended up going to a retreat and ended up in Maui meeting Ram Dass. And yeah, I don't even think Duncan knows, but he's kind of this, the domino that pushed me in that direction.
That's really cool, man. He has that effect on people. But I was comparing you to him, and you don't know this context, but there's a little bit on our show. We've been going 4 years now, and I think it was episode 55. We had Duncan on, and it was the weirdest thing because we were like dream guests: Duncan Trussell, Dakota Wint, and there's several others. Some of them I've had, some of them I have not. And Duncan just, I swear to you, as weird as it sounds, he just reached out to me out of the blue and he's like, I'd love to come on your show. And we were like, what? Because I had a friend of a friend who was his friend, and it's kind of a similar how we met. But anyway, yeah, it's just manifestations
The
abound.
universe is just so funny. It's just, I don't even know if it's manifestation. I used to believe in manifestation a lot. I think there's just, whatever's going to happen is meant to happen. And I think we can use the manifestation stuff as a way to try to like feel in control of the universe, and like we're willing it in. But there's just some giant complex network that's happening that brings people together for whatever reason. And I believe it's all just pre-agreed contracts from some different dimension, You all I'm gonna fist bump you in this life, even if it's just for a moment. We're gonna give that fist bump just for remembrance,
I completely agree with that perspective, and I'm glad you said that. I say manifestation, but what I mean by that is just like something really strange that you've had in your mind becomes true.
Yeah,
I'm not sitting here. I'm not writing stuff down. I'm not. Well, actually, I did write your name.
I've done that too. I'm not going to say that stuff don't work, because I've done that writing. I've done the writing, and it definitely helps you. Give. It's like a mantra if you write something down, or it gives your brain a framework of focus. So I'm not like against that. I'm not talking shit about the manifestation crowds out there. So I don't want them to send me some voodoo or something.
Well,
and they know Reiki.
Yeah, true. And that's also something I'm very fascinated in. But more particularly, the reason I was so excited to have you on the show is because I'm very interested in Eastern mysticism, Eastern religion, all of it, anything Eastern. But here's the thing, I don't really know anything about it beyond a layman perspective. And what do you know? We have an expert. So
no, I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit. And I talk about it a lot, and I think about it a lot. So we can have fun with the conversation. What do you like to? What about it is interesting to you?
Well, the thing is, like, knowing what your content was before, just from the outside looking in, like, this is the thing that fascinates me so much about your whole thing that you're doing is you were a YouTuber back in the mid 2000s or like late 2010s.
I
I
was
know
in
that
MySpace, so
because
it goes back it goes back far. But yeah,
yeah. And like from the moment I even started dating my wife, she's all like, this YouTube channel, look at this. He went into Bohemian Grove. And I'm like, oh,
that's
that's
true. Not a lot of people know that story because I deleted that video. But
yeah, I've seen it.
that's way back in the day. I went
Yeah.
into Bohemian Grove.
Yeah. So we've been kind of tracking your evolution this whole time because, my wife put me onto your channel.
Yeah.
And I noticed over the years that you started going to a more spiritual direction. So,
Yeah.
like from my eyes looking in, there's been this very powerful evolution of your belief, of your way of life, to where now it's like, how many months a year are you in India or in Peru or in, Papua New Guinea living with,
Yeah.
like,
Almost always, yeah. I haven't. This is I've been home in Detroit now with my family for like 2.5 months. This is my first time being home in this long for like in 10 years.
oh
So
my
it's been
God.
nice to just been like chilling and just like have my bed and stuff. But
So
it's
that's my
cool.
question. My question is like, what happened, or what? I want to get into the evolution of you, how this became your life. What was it about this Eastern philosophical way of life and living and thinking that reined you in? There had to be some glimmer of something that you said, on the
There's so
inside.
many moments when I go back and look, and the
Yeah,
moments in those moments, and I'm sure you can relate because I feel like this might just be a human life quality. But there's so many moments when I look back where I'm like, maybe it felt insignificant in the moment, but it kind of stuck. And now, I don't know, I kind of go through my file cabinet, my mind, and my past, and I can see all the dots kind of connect in all these unrelated moments that in my life, when I was in the haze of it, it didn't seem related. But now when I go back, I'm like, oh, I've always been going in this direction that I'm going. I just didn't fully have
yeah,
the foresight. And so there's not like a single moment I can pinpoint it to, but there's many moments. I think it's always just in all our lives. I think we're just destined to go in the direction that we're going to go. And for some reason, mine has just been weird. And I, uh, I mean, really, when I look back, the big moments for me, I was really kind of like a confused and lost, rebellious teenager, atheist, and running
yeah.
away from home, and very punk rock, and just out in the streets. I'd be home, I'd quit school, and yeah, I was just a bad kid overall. And so I see this as being such a catalyst for not only like the way that I travel and helping me be in like situations and stuff like that, because I'm from Detroit and we like, Detroit is kind of a rough city, and
Yeah.
it teaches you how to travel the world if you hang out in Detroit.
Right.
And
That makes sense.
so like when I look back at that, I can see how just my environment gave me the life skills to navigate rough areas of India or something like that, or Papua New Guinea, which is an insane country. Very friendly people. It's not dangerous, but it's got those stigmas.
Hmm.
And but there's little spiritual moments too. Like one weird one is I remember when I was in elementary school and we were all at the playground. The night before, I had been in my room touching my wall and just like in my head playing like a game in my head, like, am I touching the wall or is the wall touching me? And I remember going to my friends and like just posing this question to them. And it sounds stupid because that's a stupid thing, what is the deep meaning in that? But I'm realizing now when I look back that these were the first flashes of me inquiring into like non-dual
Hmm.
understandings and stuff. I was beginning the process of just thinking of the life. Am I touching that? It's a weird question, but like
Yeah. You're questioning
in
reality.
retrospect, I can see like I've always had. I came in with that sort of thing, and I think I really do at this point. I mean, I would have been less confident to say this in my past, but I really do believe that in reincarnation.
Hmm.
And I think that
Same.
somehow our energy has habits and we have tendencies, and we can see it in our own life. But I think these tendencies are also mental or spiritual. Like it's the projection. Our tendencies are actually the projection of our experience. So when we die, our habits are going to cling. We're going to cling to our habits, and that's going to create an experience that represents our habits, because that's, I think, just how consciousness works. I mean, it's a really simple way to try to explain that, but yeah, I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it to anything, but I think we come in with what we come in with, and our path is destined, and we are just, you know, a karma that has happened forever ago, and we're just the current domino that's going to be pushed forward.
Yeah. And that's amazing stuff. And I agree with every bit of that. Admittedly, I come from a very sort of traumatic Christian upbringing. And then I know you probably haven't had time or don't know much about our story or haven't looked into it yet, but we're a very like supernatural, worldwide, like known supernatural case, right? So when these things started happening, I was 13 years old. Started seeing lights in the sky, entities pop in and out of my bedroom, all over the place. The government got involved, started studying us, knocking on our door, asking questions. So at a 13-year-old brain, I started questioning everything I knew. Like, why
Yeah.
is it when I look through this Bible, the answers aren't in here, but my pastor tells me every answer to the universe is in this book? Something's weird. Long story short, as I got older and started maturing, I really fell into a lot of Hermetic stuff, alchemy, Gnostic Christianity, a lot of more Western esoteric things. And I think at the point that I'm at now is I'm sort of interested in bridging into more Eastern spiritual stuff, but it's like, where do you begin,
Yeah.
But I've
Well,
come to the same conclusions from a Western lens.
yeah. Well, I think if you get to the core of these Eastern teachings, what they're trying to tell you is that there is ultimately just a truth, and here is a variety of methods that can get you there. Like the idea of yoga is not stretching or the sort of things that people think about in America, but the yoga means union. So the methods of yoga are the methods to become unified, to be in a union with everything. So here are the science of unity, and there's a yoga for every type of person. The Buddha, like a lot of people will say that the Buddha would have so many contradictions, or a lot of teachers would have these contradictions, and it's because they have to speak to where they have to prescribe the medicine for the sickness. There's not a one answer for all people. So yoga works this kind of way, and I think what the core of yoga is that we're all practicing yoga, no matter what religion you're practicing. It is a form of connection. Yoga is not like a religious thing necessarily. Like, you don't have to be a Hindu to practice yoga. It's just a concept. And yeah, I think the idea that Hinduism or these Eastern religions are really just a science of spirituality, or the science of self-realization. And you can believe in Jesus and be a Hindu, or you can be an atheist and be a Hindu, or you can believe in Shiva or Krishna or any of these gods. There's a million gods to choose from, and they're all real. Every truth is real because God is beyond all of that. Any form you give it or want to not give it is it's true in the sense that you can experience that in your perspective. But the idea is that beyond all of that, there is a more mysterious thing that's happening. And these methods, when you get to beyond the philosophical stuff, the experiential part that it's trying to point you towards is that there's a big mystery that's hiding, no matter what religion you're in. And like the Hindus, it's not about religion. All these things are methods. All these gods, all these practices are methods. Their fingers pointing to the moon. Have you heard this idea before? Like the finger pointing to the moon. Everyone gets lost looking at the finger. It's like, look at what I'm pointing to. So all of these methods are pointing to the mystery behind it. All religions actually are pointing to the same mystery. They're all attempts to say, hey, like, there's something happening we don't know what it is, but here's the closest thing we got. It's this thing in the sky. And all, the human ideas go crazy when they're confronted with the mystery. But Hinduism and Buddhism has a variety of methods that can bring you into the literal experience to where you can feel it, or not only feel it, but become it. And I think what's lacking with a lot of religions like Christianity and I wouldn't say Islam, actually. I bet people in Islam are having deep meditation experiences just based on their
Especially with
discipline,
Sufism.
especially with Sufism. But I feel like Christianity really lacks it, and I feel like our culture really lacks that. But there are, like, if you talk about religious or mystical experiences to normal people, it's like, it's such a shrug-worthy type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not, because all over the world, forever, it's always been there, and I've had the experience, and you have had the experience. So we're like, it's possible to have the experience. And I think what Hinduism is trying to point to is that running through all of us, there is a thread of the mystery.
Yeah.
And the Buddha is trying to point, he calls it the Buddhahood or nirvana or moksha or the enlightenment experience, is when you realize that all of this stuff that you think you were doing, oh, I'm Dakota and I have this life, I have all this stuff, when at the end of it is just a story. You can't take your name with you. Your body is just a temporary point of matter that came together for a minute. But the thing that moves you is always existing, and it's always just continuing. It's the infinite energy that is just, it is the mystery itself, and it runs through all of us. It doesn't matter what religion you are, or what nationality or species or anything. It is the point where everything comes out of, the silence where sound emerges.
The 0 point.
The 0 point. It's the Shiva. That's what Shiva means, is this point. People think
Wow.
Shiva is this god and stuff, but Shiva means this point.
Cool. Is that why they have like the lingams that are like a point then?
Shiva lingam is a very interesting symbol too, because these are the oldest symbols of Shiva, or one of the oldest symbols of Shiva is the Shiva ling. And it's like this, it's like this pillar that comes out, and it sits kind of like the UFO behind you. It's kind of like this base with a thing coming out. Yeah. And it means, actually, I think I got one somewhere. No, not next to me. But it means the masculine and feminine. The bottom part is what's called a yoni, and it means a vagina. Mm-hmm. This is called the lingam. It means a penis. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't fit. It doesn't
like
mean
the
that
masculine and the feminine.
It's the masculine and feminine dance. It's the unity of Shiva, which is the pillar, which is the stability, the foundation, and the feminine, which is the creative stage in which life unfolds on. So the Shiva ling is a symbol that represents that duality and unity, the play of duality in unity.
Cool.
And it's crazy because it's like a 10,000-year-old symbol, maybe even older. How is this philosophical depth happening at those times? We still aren't grasping that stuff today.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely insane. And I feel like when you start to pull these threads, it has to point to some sort of Atlantis type existence. Do you get into that stuff much?
I don't. And I don't know if it has to do with Atlantis. I think that this is just a truth of reality. And I think I think many humans have tapped into it, and species. And I think you just tap into that. I even think AI is going to bring us to that point.
I do too.
But tell me, why do you think why Atlantis?
Because if you look into the mystery schools of Western tradition, and many of them are blended with Eastern tradition, like, for example, I don't know if you've heard much about the Helena Blavatsky or the Theosophists or whatever, but a lot of these Western schools are very ingrained with Eastern practice. Long story short, you have people like the Templar Knights, the Rosicrucians, obviously the Freemasons. They're the most popular, and they have this bad stigma. I mean, it goes on and on, all these different groups that are all claiming that this knowledge actually, and it's all the same knowledge, pretty much. It's like, the mystical knowledge, the mystery, and awakening, the process of awakening and the esoteric truths. They all claim that it comes from a much older version of existence, like Atlantis, some sort of society before ours.
I think it's possible, actually, definitely. Something crazy that just as you're saying this, something I was looking into recently is they found Vedic gods in stones written in Syria.
Wow.
Same names even. Yeah. It's not like, oh, this could be. It's like, no, this is the same name. India, Syria is like, what the fuck?
There are shamanic tribes in Mexico, and someone from like a Freemasonic lodge or a Templar Knight, you know, they have these secret handshakes, and when they meet, they have the same secret handshakes, and they mean the same thing. So it's like, how is that possible? Okay, well, it goes deeper, you know. So the idea is that basically, if there was some sort of existence of humans that was more spiritually advanced, maybe technologically, all of that stuff, it was destroyed somehow. There's different theories about that. Obviously, we'll probably never know the full story, but the idea is that the spiritual, I say quote, right, the spiritual successor of Atlantis went to Tibet and then went to Egypt. So a lot of people say,
Is Tibetan wisdom supposed to be from them?
yes.
Oh, you know about Tibetan? Do you know about their like Book of the Dead and
Not
stuff?
a
Oh
little bit,
God, dude, it's crazy.
a little bit.
It's so crazy. It's like they mapped out the afterlife completely, and it
And I'm
matches
starting
the
to believe
psychedelic.
that.
I believe it because
Yeah.
it matches the psychedelic experience to a T.
Yeah. I've been I don't know if you've ever heard of the Monroe Institute, but
I think I have. I think I have. Yeah, they do
yeah,
psychic
well,
stuff, right?
yes, it's a very cool place. I'm actually involved with them. They're a wonderful institution. In 4 days, I'm going to certify to be a trainer with them and have the position to help people go through like guided meditation experiences. It's I can't recommend it enough, and we could talk about that later. Now, all you want, whatever. But it's a wonderful place, and their whole thing is about going out of body.
Hmm.
And I've been out of body there many times. And after experiencing that, I've come to realize, okay, the stories from Tibet,
I know.
why not levitation? You know what I mean?
I-
The out of body stuff is true. The Book of the Dead stuff is true. I've experienced it. I've gone out of body. So I'm like, I'm questioning everything. Just, you know,
I know. When I had the, it just sounds like I almost hesitate to say it because it just sounds so ridiculous to say that you've been out of body. And it's if someone would have told me this in my teenage years, I would have just been like, "Fuck off, you lunatic." But you can actually have the experience, and it's
yeah,
insane. And I've had it with my many times actually.
amazing.
Especially on psychedelics, I know how to get there through a certain meditation I can do, and I can almost leave my body 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it has you question everything. And then when you read these stuff that these Tibetans talk about, you're like, dude, these guys
Oh
are
my
not
God.
making
Yeah.
shit up.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, right? And if you talk to somebody in a Western esoteric tradition, they will say, and I know this because I've done it, I've talked to these people, they will say that the whole point of all of it in the ancient past, the rituals, all of it was about going out of body, even in the West. So I've kind of like restructured my entire belief system to think that that's like such an important thing, you know, that the idea is that in the ancient past, they were extremely obsessed to the point of having methodic rituals just to go out of body to try to communicate with God or have some sort
Still,
of,
actually.
yeah, still, of course, but even crazier when you think about back then, you know? So,
Yeah, it is crazy that it's just been maintained. Yeah, I mean, the idea of like this ancient lost civilization is fun. I don't know if it's necessary because I think humans are just tapped in somehow, dude. We just have like
yeah,
we're in a limbo of evolution where we're like half in the spirit world, half in the human world. Because
yeah,
if you look around, I mean, obviously we look around and nothing here we can relate to. We're clearly on a different fucking trajectory than the rest of these animals. Everything's on instinct. We are just there's things that are similar, you know. Maybe ants build little societies, humans build society, but like it's just not the
yeah.
same.
They
Like
think with their
we're
stomachs.
you say what you say? They
They
eat with their
think
stomach?
with their they think
They
with
think
their
with their
stomachs.
stomachs.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they don't have much reasoning past that. They're animals and
Yeah.
they're beautiful, wonderful
We do
beings.
that too, but we also have the choice.
Right.
We have choice.
Yeah.
That's good, and that's so weird because what the fuck is that? How does that happen?
Yeah.
And here we
It's
are. We
wild.
just are like the only thing on this planet that's in a situation where it can question its situation. It's almost like a cosmic joke. It's like you just wake up and no one knows. It's like, come on, what is this, a bit? You know?
Well, I can promise you, Dakota, that on this show you are very well believed, and it is not weird to talk about out of body experiences,
Good. We can talk about them.
and we got to talk about them. So, yeah, I got to hear.
Well, the first time I had one, it was on LSD and MDMA together. I was like 22 years old, and it was like overwhelming. So I was like left to be away by myself, and I went and laid in the room, and I instantly started like projecting out of body and having all these different visions of potential scenarios. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, and there was like flashing and completely immersive, like maybe like a real daydream. I wouldn't say I was out of body yet, but I was fully captured by my the hypnosis of my visions. I was like scared when I was scared and really feeling it. But then after that, I kind of broke through. Once I was able to like calm myself down, I broke through, and it was like I was in every part of the room. It
Mhm.
wasn't like I was out of my body and I was floating around, but it was as if
Yeah,
my consciousness just like popped out of my body, and it would just encompassed everything.
it expanded.
Yeah, expanded. Because I hear some people talk about like I came out of my body and I went out of the roof, and like I didn't really have that. It was just like if I wanted to go out of the roof, I could just go there, but it wasn't like I was floating around. It was just like uh it's not a thing, so you can't say it, but it's just this yeah, I don't know, you just become it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's a shift in your perspective. I've had things like that too, where it's like I'm laying there, I'm meditating, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm seeing from behind my head. Like, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, you don't always just float out of your body and go through the wall like Casper.
Yeah.
People do that,
I've heard
but
people
yeah,
do that.
I know what you mean because I've experienced this
Yeah.
myself.
It's just like the boundaries completely dissolve, and you're just, I mean, it sounds cheesy to say one with everything, but you kind of just like are, you just become one with everything. And I had this experience where I was in like what I guess is the Akashic records,
Mhm.
because I could think of anything and immediately understand it.
Wow.
I don't know if, I mean, that sounds crazy, but
Not really. Not on
uh,
our show.
I was just like, I don't even fully remember what I was asking, which is the craziest part. When you have these like crazy psychedelic experiences, you'll have the whole universe showed to you, and then you have to come back and like wipe your drool, and you can't remember anything. It's
Yeah.
like a cosmic joke again. But
Yeah. No, that's amazing, man.
that was my first time, and then after that, I was like just really scratching my head, like, what the hell? No one's talking about this. Like, how? What? Everyone's, because I was at a party. Everyone's out here on acid. How everyone's just like, what the hell? I'm in the Akashic records, and you guys are like out there listening to whatever Drake or something. And it's, I don't know. Really threw me down a chain of events, because I just seeked answers, and none of my friends, they were like, dude, you were just high. But it was like, nah, dude, it was something different. This is not
Mhm.
just being high. I had like a spiritual experience. And yeah, those moments were really me in the stove, that were leading me to going to
Yeah.
India. And these experiences are what led me to India,
Wow.
because I was like, how are these guys talking about it in India? There's no acid in India. There's no mushrooms in India. How are these guys getting to this stuff? Because when you read the books like the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads, it says the same exact experience that we're talking about, like these out of body experiences and how to achieve them and what they mean. And it's a whole science of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, India, as far as I can tell, is the most in-depth living shamanic religion on the planet.
Wow.
And I mean, they're using not only plants, they're using dead bodies. Not all of them, of course. It's very rare to see that, but the whole spectrum of magical potential is happening and
I
thriving and alive in India.
I'm very curious to hear about some of that because I know you've had so much firsthand experience. Um, like, let's just get into that. Like, what's some of
Yeah.
the crazy magical stuff that you've seen?
uh, Magical in which way?
Well, like you said, the shamanic, like you've seen that they do rituals with things like dead
Yeah,
bodies or with plants, or I've seen some of your videos where, obviously a lot of cannabis. That's
always. Yeah, they're
like
smoking a lot of
ganja.
that.
Yeah, ganja. Um, just any of that kind of
Mm.
stuff.
You
I'm
know,
curious about
I
your
really,
experience with that.
I really wanted to have that experience of the guru where he touches you and on the mountaintop and
Mhm.
but it never happened. And I tried everything. I was like, man, where are these guys that can read your mind and are levitating? And I looked for years and years and years, and I did everything I could. I still have never found those types of guys, but I did find guys that meditate on top of dead bodies. Particularly this guy Mani Kundan Baba is his name. Baba is like is like a respectful title in India. Babaji is like what you
Mhm.
call older people or holy men in India. Baba is like someone that has wisdom,
Right.
and so we call all these holy men are called Baba, even if they're younger. And so Manikandin Baba, he's this Aghori from South India, and he does all these kind of things. He's covered in the dead ash.
And what's a
When
Aghori?
Aghori, so Aghori is in Hinduism is very complex, but there's lots of different belief systems in Hinduism. I guess you could kind of relate it
Mhm.
to like Catholicism or Baptist or Protestant,
Right, right.
something like that. But it's a little bit, maybe even the extremes are more in India. Like
Mhm.
you can have totally different beliefs. Like not even, it doesn't even seem like the same thing, and it's all still under the same umbrella. And so these guys, this guy meditated on his own mom's body.
Mm, I
Oh,
can't.
sorry. So the Aghori, it's a big history, but the Aghori are what are called like tantric practitioners. They do the very taboo stuff.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you don't get in, their idea is that they're not trying to reach enlightenment through, uh, I don't know, helping old women across the road or feeding people. They're trying to get enlightenment through cutting the head off their ego completely by doing the most disgusting things, the things that you would be repulsed by. They're diving into it intentionally because that's where the juice of the karma is, because that's where you're clinging to. So they're going there and cutting all the chains off, completely dissociating with society. They walk naked. They cover themselves in the ash of dead people, so they're all like white. They usually have
Mm.
crazy hair.
I've
Sometimes
seen them in
they
your
carry
videos.
skulls.
Yeah.
Most of them are bullshit. Most of them you find are bullshit, but some of them are not bullshit. And some of them do crazy stuff like this, like, you know, meditate on your own mom's body. And the idea is that he was trying to pray for her as she
Right.
transforms into her next
It's a
experience.
respectful thing though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but it's
okay.
shocking to everybody, even to people in
Right.
India. They're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you know, black magic. And so I've done a lot of crazy stuff with these guys. Animal sacrifices. I don't participate. Well, sometimes I do, but I usually just watch. I don't kill any animals myself or anything like that, but I've watched these guys kill animals. I've watched these guys do exorcisms. I've watched these guys wear skulls of human heads. You know, what's one time we were in what's called Kamakya, one of these most famous tantric temples in India, uh, maybe even 2,000 years old or something, very ancient temple. And still today, they're maintaining the tantra practices there. More like this type of stuff, you know, like the Aghori kind
Mhm.
of.
The shocking stuff.
Yeah, sometimes it's very shocking. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's peaceful. But there is moments where it gets really intense, and especially like festival times. Like if you
Mhm.
went during the day, maybe it just looks like a normal temple. But during the festivals and stuff, like when the goddesses come alive in their beliefs and stuff, all the crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
And we were there for the big festival of the temple. There's an idea in Hinduism, just to give a little backstory, where Sati, Shiva's wife, she fell to earth, her corpse, she died, and they built temples where different body parts fell.
Mhm.
This is where her vagina fell, so it's like super holy. And
Interesting.
in the summertime, the monsoon makes the river turn red, so they
Mhm.
believe it's her menstruating. So they go here and they sacrifice animals and they do blood rituals. And I met this guy, Manikandan Baba there. I had met him already, but I just was like meeting him here. And I walk up there and he's doing an exorcism at the temple. There's like a guy freaking out, and
Mhm.
he's like a
We were
crazy.
just talking about this at dinner, by the way, one of your exorcism videos, but I have not seen it. I just wanted to say we were just talking about this.
It seems to be pretty normal
Okay.
in India, these exorcisms. But yeah, so we walked up on an exorcism. I thought, oh shit, dude, this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a crazy night. Just this is how it's starting off. And they're all preparing because a lot of these babas they come to show off at all the festivals. You know, like
Right. Yeah.
I'm meditating with my skulls and I'm covered in ash. And people come, you know, really, you know, sneak up and get their blessings and get donations or something. It's all business. But
Yeah.
they were preparing for the festival and they had this skull necklace and they were putting lemons in the eyes. And it looked all scary. The skull was all red.
What?
And
Oh,
I
in the
walked up.
skull
Yeah,
eyes.
in the
Yeah.
skull eyes, like for its eyeballs, like pushing
Uh-huh.
lemons into the eyes where the person used to see.
Uh-huh.
And I walked up, I was like, hey, what is the meaning of all this stuff? And I was like, what is it? You know, like the eyes, like the lemons. And the guy just looks at me and he goes, it just looks cool. Yeah, it does look cool. I'll give you that. So it's not always, a lot of these Aghoris are not always like, you know, really getting it. You know, it's a lot, sometimes it's a lot of show, you know,
Yeah,
a
like
lot of
punk rock.
theater. It's a lot of theater. It's a lot of
Yeah.
showing off. And, but I knew this when I was hanging out with these guys, you know, you can kind of tell. And there was a one guy in the corner, and I walked up to him with my camera, all kind of arrogant YouTuber, and I start talking to him, and I don't even remember what he said, but this guy is the only guy I've ever met who has the ability to suck the air out of the room
Hmm.
and like suspend you in a moment. Like we're talking about like going out of body. It's almost like he brings you to that point right before where it's like,
Everyone's listening.
whoa.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he does it, but I've been talking to this guy now and visiting him for about 5 years. His name is Bhavani Baba. He's also an Aghori. And he was happened to be here because he's interested in that stuff, and this is the lifestyle he follows. But he doesn't wear the skulls, and he doesn't cover himself in the ash. And we were just talking, and somehow I don't know what he did, but he like cast a spell on me or something, and was able to give me like a spiritual experience just through his talking. Because a lot of
Hmm.
Babas, they talk a lot of shit and they say the same things, and it's like oneness, and it's like
That was your guru moment.
there's a guru moment a little bit. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was. That
yeah,
was it.
yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if I'd call him my guru. Guru is a big thing, but he's definitely my biggest teacher. And
I just mean like metaphorically. There
yeah,
was a real transference of spiritual power from
oh, for
somebody,
sure.
you
When
know?
they talk about transmitting power in India, I believe it because of that experience.
Yeah.
And I've been visiting this guy now for like 5 years, and he told me the secret of the Aghori. And he said the secret of the Aghori, all these guys that are meditating on the dead bodies and wearing the skulls are missing the point completely. And
Hmm.
that the truth of Aghori, is that you yourself become the dead body. That you are
Oh,
everything you have, you sacrifice to God. That's the true meaning. Everyone's confused, and they're using these dead bodies trying to get
yeah.
powers and all this stuff,
They're
and
playing with props. Yeah. They're just, yeah.
they're missing
That's
the point.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I get it. I feel like I understood Aghori in that moment. Like it's not some shocking thing, which is that you're gonna find on YouTube and stuff, but actually, it's trying to point you that you're actually already dead. You are already a dead body, and you don't even know it. This whole thing that you're living right now is an illusion,
Hmm.
and little by little, you're gonna realize that you're already dead, and everything that you see around you is gonna be taken. So these guys jump into the fire. This guy jumps into the fire, and just to give an example, this is another moment that kind of like made me kind of step and look at him in a weird way. Was I brought my friends to meet him, and we were sitting around a fire, and my friend has a stepson who got stabbed and had to like
Mm.
pee out of a thing, out of a bag or
Yeah.
something, and he was just sharing this story. And as he's sharing, Bhavani leans next to me and like not saying it out loud, but just saying it to me, and he goes, "The difference between me and him is that if I had a son and he died, I wouldn't even, nothing in my inner world would change." He said, "My thinking is fire and his is ash."
Hmm.
I don't even know what that meant in that moment. I was like, oh my God, dude, what the fuck? But basically, what he's saying is like the his inside is the pillar, it's the
Hmm.
stability. There's no wavering of emotions of what's going to happen in this world. He
Yeah.
is like seeing, and he always tells me this. He goes, "You're always here, you're doing ayahuasca, you're doing the toad, you're doing yoga," and he always tells me that I'm an arrow with no target.
Yeah.
And when I'm with him, I see that he is a target through everything. He never falters. I've spent months with him, and every day it's just like the same, just static buzz. And I've never experienced that with any other of these yogis in India. He's the closest thing I've got.
And I think it's funny that he's not, I mean, he's not a guru, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's not a guru. He's just kind of a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
like,
I mean, he's a sadhu. He's doing these practices and stuff, but he doesn't have like followers or anything.
yeah, but he's like, don't care about the label,
No,
but
no, no, definitely not.
he
He
has
would
the
he would
presence.
like he would kind of cringe if I said he was my guru.
Yeah, and I think that that's how when it's real, that I believe that's how it works when
Yeah,
it's real. You know, it's like more punk rock. Like, who cares about the label? But you know, he's a spiritual guy. I know I've met so many people like that. I've been so blessed to meet people like that. And it's an amazing thing when you meet someone who you feel like I felt like an arrow with no target for so long.
I
And then I
still
meet,
am.
yeah. And it's fun,
It
but
is
you hit a
fun.
point where you want some guidance and it's like,
Yeah,
you know, I totally resonate with that.
it's so true. Because like, I mean, at some point you gotta move forward, and if you're going in every direction, yeah, it's fun. The buffet is nice, but like, you know,
Yeah.
eventually you just get fat and you don't really have a.
Yeah, I love that. And the discipline too. The ability, or rather the importance of having discipline to a path or to some sort of practice, I
I'm
think is
just learning it, man.
so,
It's crazy.
yeah, it's crucial and it's life-changing. I'm curious about some of your psychedelic experiences.
Got a ton of them.
Yeah. Okay, let me reframe the question then. How about some of your most meaningful psychedelic experiences?
You know, really, I feel like my first one was so meaningful. I took mushrooms with, at the time was my girlfriend, and I didn't know about mushrooms. I was very punk rock, straight edge. I was kind of against all drugs. I didn't smoke weed or do anything until I was like 20 or 21. Never
Hmm.
drank alcohol or anything. Still don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, me either.
And she was like, "Let's take some mushrooms," and I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." And I'm kind of already a little bit of a hippie at this point, and I think I am smoking weed at this point. And she gives it to me, and we take it. It's just casual, chilling in the living room, you know, listening to music. And we decide to go outside. And I walk outside, and it's just like the first time I ever opened my eyes. I mean, anyone that's taken a psychedelic, you know that feeling. You just get,
Yeah.
wow, everything is so beautiful. How have I been walking through life and I didn't see the beauty? Oh, an
How's it held
awakening.
together?
How is it held together?
Yeah.
What is this beauty? How is it happening? This is just here. I can just eat a mushroom, and I just all of a sudden the beauty is revealed. And yeah, it was a very spiritual experience for me too, where I was just like, damn, you know, this is so. I didn't know. It was the first time I really thought spiritual things in such a profound way. Not quite like that, but feeling it in a way where it's like a altered state. You know, it's my
Hmm.
first altered
Hmm.
state experience where I'm like, damn, it's the spiritual is not just like some idea or nice fuzzy feeling you get, but it's actually beyond the body, and it's an
Hmm.
experiential thing on many dimensional layers. And that was my first like confrontation with that. And from there, a big journey. You know, I ended up living in Peru for a while. I got stuck there during COVID for months, living with these Shipibo shamans. And those guys, it's not like when they drink ayahuasca, it's not when the guests are there. They drink ayahuasca all the time. So it's like, oh
Hmm.
my God. And they force you to drink it. They forced me to drink it when I was during the pandemic. So I was drinking ayahuasca like twice a week for
Oh my
months.
God.
It was just like, and even if I didn't join, which I would like try my best to protest these, they would make me join the ceremony. So I got to go sit in the ceremony, and I still have to get the cleansing. And some nights I just, okay, give me that because they're going to torture me anyway. So I drink it. And yeah, I mean, I'm ayahuasca out at this point, but
Hmm.
I've had many, many intense ayahuasca experiences, and I've got to know the spirit of ayahuasca a little bit. I don't know it at all, but I know it a little bit. You know, I kind of find it funny when people think they know ayahuasca after a week or something. It's like, man, I don't even have a clue what ayahuasca is.
Hmm.
But it's a portal to aliens for sure. If you want to go down the alien route, that is definitely one way to connect with some dimensional beings. I think actually psychedelics in general are
Yeah, I
a
agree.
tool that allows you to interact with intelligences that are existing beyond this biochemistry that we're operating in right now.
Hmm. That's a great way to word it.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
a great way to word it.
I think our world, I think of the ancient world, they all knew about it. There are our ancestors, all our ancestors, no matter what color or race you are chuckling at us for losing this knowledge or shaking their
Yeah.
heads because they all know in the tribal communities around the world, they still have it. You know, the ones that have still maintained their grandparents' language, that haven't got the church built in their village yet. These guys know.
Hmm.
They know. And they're using the plants to speak with these spirits. They might not call them aliens, but by today's standard, whatever we're connecting with, they're showing us technologies, they're giving us like alien type of understandings. Definitely by
Yeah.
today's standards, you could easily consider it that. And but yeah, our ancestors knew, and we're just now finding out. And I think a Western science is just now finding out. They're now having to do these studies at Johns Hopkins about the DMT entities, and
Mhm.
all these big universities are now getting hip to it because they have no choice. Everyone's having we all had the experience, so you can't tell us that it's not real. Our ancestors had the experience.
Mhm.
There's something else.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's like they have no choice but to catch up.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel about Age of Aquarius? Into it?
What is it?
Oh, well, the Age of Aquarius is the idea that there is like a collective shift happening that we all experience in addition to all the individual awakenings that are obviously happening. So it's like right now we're in the age of Pisces, and then the next astrological age will shift into Aquarius. It's like the
Are we
zodiac
ending it right now, or we're in the middle? Where's ours
going
at?
going to Aquarius.
But where are
We're
we
at the end
in,
of
how
Pisces.
far are we until we hit Aquarius? In our lifetime, or this is like
The
future humans?
like the very end of a Pisces. Yes, there's it has been said that Aquarius might be very very soon. In fact, I think that it's already here, and that's why we're having such profound awakenings and turbulence on the planet. Not
Yeah,
only, we're having fires, we're having floods, we're having earthquakes, we're having
yeah,
hurricanes, we're having wars, we're having all these political bullcrap, but also UFOs,
yeah.
drones over New Jersey, all the
Hmm.
congressional talks. My family really like have a big part to play with the UFO story. And there's just like so much change happening rapidly, and it could be said that it's because
AI.
AI, yeah, and it goes on and on. And it
Yeah,
could be said that it's because there's a shift into an age. And if you think,
yeah,
Dakota, historically, every time we shift into a new age, there was a new prophet, there was a new spiritual advancement of our knowledge that we had, and yeah, I just didn't know if
yeah.
you were into that.
I have heard of that. In Hinduism, they call this age Kali Yuga, where it's the age where everything is fucked up. So
Hmm.
it's like it's where like the spiritual teachings are kind of like muddied. It's like the teachings are there, but the people saying it aren't really experiencing what they're saying. They're just kind of repeating. So
Hmm.
like in the turbulence that you're talking about, that's all signs of Kali Yuga. And I totally agree with you that there's a shift happening. And I think the reason there's population happening right now is that we're all incarnating here on
Hmm.
purpose to come
Hmm.
here because the karma is burning quick while we're here. Like there's a fire everywhere going on. So we're working out our shit like,
Yeah.
this is like multiple lifetimes worth of shit that we get to work out in one lifetime. So I think there is a shift happening, and I think we're in the thick of it right now. And everywhere you look, you can see it. If you talk to people on a personal level, everyone feels it. And
Yeah.
here we are. Yeah,
It's
it's
like
time
the
to wake
elephant in
up.
the room. Everyone's
Yeah,
going through this crazy change, and it's like, what is happening here? And then you're in the corner. You're like, I know what's happening. And everyone's like, nah, you're crazy. And then they walk outside and see a UFO or
yeah,
that's just one example. I've had that
yeah,
happen to me so many
yeah.
times, but
Well, what it's demanding is that we all focus right now. And I think a lot of people are going to get scared. I think a lot of people do feel scared, actually. I
yeah,
think there's a lot of unease happening politically and socially, and everything is nudging us towards growth. Really, that's
yeah,
what it is. But in that process of growth, there's a lot of unsettling and unease and nausea, like spiritual nausea.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people are going to be scared, but I think it's very important in this moment that we remain calm, that we remain spiritually aware, and that we don't get lost in the sauce. Because as soon as we get lost in the sauce, then the Kali Yuga or the previous era has us, and it's time for us to wake up. And I think that comes very simply by not only going deep into these meditations and out of body experiences and UFOs, but simply by you don't go buy Coca-Cola. You don't go say the negative thing you were going to say. It starts very simply. And then from there, slowly, slowly, we start reconnecting with compassion. And then with that compassion, we start to look at the plants, we start to look at the animals. And then through there, we slowly start to understand the soul. Oh my God, I have a soul. This animal has a soul. This tree, everything is somehow connected. And then from there, the aliens are going to start talking to us because we're going to be able to see it. We're too distracted right now by our own bullshit that we're not even able to use our psychic powers because we're too distracted by our bullshit. Everyone's horny. Everyone's on bad food. Everyone, like you're confused right now. Our whole human species right now is in a hypnosis. So it's very important for people like us to, just to kind of throw some water in the face or slap them awake and say like, look, remember who you are. Remember who you are, because, the people that want your power are having it every time that you don't remember who you are. So it's a big fight right now. And I think if we are successful in that fight and we do enter this next stage of awakening, all this mystical and supernatural stuff is going to be very obvious to us. I think we're just so distracted that even if they were here, we wouldn't believe it. Even if, or like a spiritual thing, if the guru came to you, would you even believe him? If the Buddha was here, would you believe him? If Jesus was here, would you believe him? No one would believe it. If the aliens were here, someone somewhere would question it.
Yeah.
It's part of the age of being in Kali Yuga. But it's time for us to be slapped awake a little bit. And I think, like we were saying earlier, we're getting to that turbulence where there's no choice. Yeah. In 10 years from now, everybody is going to be a different world. I don't even know what it's even going to look like.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy. I think that it's so spot on what you said about like we can't even use our psychic powers because we're distracted. Well, I've been very privileged and honored and lucky to have had an experience of being very close to like cutting edge psychic stuff in my life. As far as like knowing people who ran the Psychic Spy program, going to the Monroe Institute, just my family and the paranormal experiences that we've had. I've seen crazy shit. Let me just say that. I've seen crazy shit. And I'm just very like blessed to have that experience. And I know for a fact that it is unfolding in a way that is just like dominoes falling to where, like you said, maybe 10 years from now,
10 years from now, it's going to be insane. Like the common person has no clue how fast it's coming.
Yeah. And I even speculate if like 50 to 100 years from now, do people just, I'm hungry, manifest an apple with thought?
Yeah. I mean, that's not 50 to 100 years is incomprehensible to us right now. With how fast and crazy stuff is going to be changing, 100 years is going to be 10,000 years, from our previous progress.
Yeah. I think that all the stuff about levitation is real when you read these Tibetan texts of like these masters meditating in caves. I mean, meditating too, but levitating. And you always hear stories of Catholic saints levitating around a crowd of 100 people. So, you know what I mean? Like I think
so crazy.
I think that reality is being shaken by the process that's happening right now with the unfoldment of consciousness, like on a collective scale. And right now it's like, there's this small number of people who've seen this stuff. Like, for example, dude, I have this friend named Dahlia, very cool person. Her daughter is one of the children on the telepathy tapes. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about it, but I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. I want to watch it.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's nonverbal autistic children who read each other's minds and other people's minds, and they do other stuff too.
I mean, evolutionarily, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. And she was so moved by what's happening with her daughter, being able to read minds and see the future and talk to spirits and stuff, that she started getting into psychic training. I have seen her in private and in public at an event called the Psy Games in Virginia in a room full of like 500 people. I have seen her triple blindfolded, read words, match colors, pick numbers, everything with her eyes closed and triple blindfolded. She can see better than you or me. And that's just one example. Obviously remote viewing. I'm sure you're familiar with that. I know all the guys or not all the guys, but most of the guys that were involved with that, the CIA program, and just seen a lot of crazy stuff, man. And then it's like you said, there's other people and they're like, well, I don't believe that. All right. You're lost, bro. You're not the life of the
next
party.
Life. Yeah. What do you think about places like Göbekli Tepe?
You know, if you had asked me about anywhere else in the entire world, I might have an answer, but I don't know much about Göbekli Tepe.
Really?
Where is it?
You don't know about Göbekli Tepe? I thought that would be your like, that's a big mystery.
Alex is
It's
like
in
looking at
Turkey.
me. You have any thoughts, Alex? You're here too.
Well, it's the
Yeah,
whole
Alex, I forgot you were here.
it's the whole Graham Hancock thing, and the idea that there was an ancient civilization that was further
I know
advanced.
what it is.
Yeah, okay.
I just haven't.
Okay. That's
dove
about all
into it.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude! You want me to give you my little Göbekli Tepe
Yes.
history?
Yes.
So
yes,
Göbekli Tepe was a site that dates back to 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. So at the end of the last ice age, human beings were pretty much scattered tribes, hunter-gatherers, nomadic, moving with the seasons, hunting with animals, not building megalithic structures with 15-ton stones being dragged down hills and up hills, with perfect mastery in the stone art and
Yeah.
clear religious symbolism and clear complex structure in their belief system. They find human skulls and all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's 12,000 years ago when that's not supposed to be possible. So everyone's got all the archaeologists scratching their heads. Okay, okay, so there's just this isolated temple, they're calling it, first temple in the world. And they find some scattered other anomalies around, and they're like, how is this possible? We don't find anything else in the Stone Age that's even close to this. So they start doing like digs around the area. And now, fast forward to 2025, they realize it's a giant network of sites, of megaliths, all in this for 200 kilometers in each direction.
Wow.
They say 12. They call it the Tash Tepe Lair sites, the Stone Hills network. But actually, there's like 100.
Wow.
And this
That's
is like,
cool.
this is rewriting our whole idea of history. The one that I work with the most, I'm actually going to Turkey in 2 days, but to these sites, I've been documenting it for about 7 years. Karahan Tepe is the name of it. It's like the sister site to Göbekli Tepe. I don't know if it's way crazier because Göbekli is still underground, most of it, but Karahan Tepe is like a clear shamanic death leopard cult. The whole thing's got like these leopard skin pelts carved into the pillar. They find leopard bones there. They find these statues with these guys carrying leopards on their backs. They find statues of penises. They find this dead man statue who's got like a penis. He's got his penis out and his ribs are all, he's like a zombie, 7 feet tall, next to a vulture, next to a human skull square thing. So it's like, these Stone Age people, we're just completely wrong. Like, it's just, we really don't know anything about our history. Obviously, we only know what we find, but we always find something that proves us wrong, or that proves that we don't know the full story. But this is like, it's crazy. I mean, I don't think aliens have anything to do with it, but it's just like, it's insane that you see such advanced, complex social structure, religious structure, artistic structure,
geometrical and masonry knowledge.
And a lot of the carvings show like vultures carrying human heads. It's like a death cult, a fertility death cult, because you see the penises, so there's obviously some fertility there. And the death stuff is very obvious in all the sites. And the crazy thing is they find obsidian from 500 miles away.
Wow.
They find
I wonder if people pilgrimage there
that's
from
what I'm thinking.
all over the ancient
That's what I'm thinking. Because that's perfect you say that, because 2,000 years later, a couple hundred miles away, there's a place called Çatalhöyük. It's maintaining the same motifs: leopards, vultures, and the human heads. All this stuff is maintained for 2,000 years in this area. So maybe they were pilgrimage. Maybe this was one of the first organized religions, and it spread across the whole area right there.
Wow.
I mean, you find it. And even up into the Sumerian stuff, you find vultures carrying human heads, or lions and leopards. And it could go back very far. And like the Graham Hancock, if there was a lost civilization, this could be like the Atlantis.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys seem to just, the crazy thing is you don't find anything in between this stone carving. So like the oldest shit we find is just like intensely detailed and complex. Like they're carving 3-dimensional objects out of the stone, or carving into the bedrock. So they're like scooping the stone out of the bedrock, and carving
Yeah.
structures that are connected to the earth still.
With
It's like-
copper or weaker tools.
with flint.
Yeah. How?
Yeah, how? I don't
You
even
got
know
me.
how.
Yeah. I don't
Look,
think
did you
that's
give
how.
me and my friends some flint tools? I'm not carving nothing.
So I watched a documentary. Yeah, same. My buddy Aaron, shout out to Aaron and his fiance Helen. He's the very talented mind behind some really cool bands like Infant Annihilator and Black Tongue. And he's been on my show. I'm a heavy metal nerd.
Nice.
But anyway, he came and stayed with me from England. We had a good show, hung out, did a Monroe Institute retreat together, and something for days. He was like, "You got to watch this documentary on the Barabar caves. You got to watch."
Oh,
so
that's
we
in
ended
India,
up,
right?
yeah, and we ended up watching it. I don't know if you've seen it, but you'll probably really find it interesting. It's like, imagine you know like the old fashioned airplane hangars, or like you see them on military bases where they're like a half circle dome, and they're long, and it's like airplanes go in and out of them.
Yeah.
Like the semicircle
Yeah.
buildings.
Like in GTA, where you steal the airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I know them from military bases from GTA. So imagine that shape precisely cut down to like 0.001 laser accuracy by hand with no machine tools, actually better than modern machine tools, inside stone. That's the Barabar Caves.
Yeah.
And the geometry of these structures is extremely precise, extremely geometrically sound and symmetric. And they were probably made like 10,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago or something like that. And it's like,
I mean,
how?
even if it was made yesterday with no modern tools, it's like, how?
How? They literally, in this documentary, they take them to like stonemasons, modern stonemasons, like master world-renowned stonemasons from France and these other countries in Europe that I can't remember right now. And they're like, I couldn't do this. And they're like, rate it difficulty out of 10. 2 of them said 12. Like, impossible.
Yeah.
This can't be done. The
Yeah.
machines we have are as big as this room. You can't
Yeah.
fit that underground in a cave. They took it to I can't remember the business, but they have these machines that like cut granite and get them polished. And it was, after being ran through the machine over and over, it was less polished and less precise than the Barabar Caves. So it's like, how do
Yeah.
they do this?
I don't
How?
know. And India's got a lot of weird places like that. And that's just a random place in India. That's not even a famous place, really.
Yeah.
They have like that one, what is it? Ellora. You know about Ellora, where they again carved into the bedrock gigantic temples from the top of a mountain and just started chipping away the mountain. And
Yeah.
slowly.
You've got Petra, Jordan.
I've been to Petra. It's incredible.
Oh,
It's one of my
sweet.
favorite places.
Yeah. So I have ideas. I wonder if it's some sort of sound, like vibrational technology. I mean, you know about cymatics, and there's like,
It's possible. I mean,
yeah.
it's definitely not impossible. Or magnets.
yeah, something like that. I don't know. I don't think aliens came down and did it. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily
'cause
know.
I don't know about aliens coming and moving rocks. It always made me, I was like, what
Yeah.
is the motive to them to come and move some rocks around? I mean, I guess like space station pointers and stuff, but
Yeah, I have a different view on alien type experiences. Like I think it tends to be a dimensional spiritual thing.
oh, for sure.
And that brings me to another thing. I was curious if you've ever seen a UFO.
I'm glad you said that because I forgot. I wanted to tell you this. I never seen a UFO, but I was in Mexico one time in Sonora. I don't know if you know about this tribe in Sonora, but they all talk about aliens. I don't know. Like I went there. This smoke the toad venom,
Oh, sweet.
Sonora toad venom,
Yeah,
which was
I've heard of that.
It's not actually traditional to them. It was discovered, I think, in the 70s or something. But they tried to get some indigenous heritage behind it for legality and stuff. So this tribe adopted it, and it's a big political whatever. But so these guys, I went there because of the toad to learn about the toad, and just like hanging out, they just all kept talking about aliens. I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" You know?
Did I miss something?
Yeah. And they were just like, "Oh yeah, the aliens. They come here, they talk to us, and." Very casually. Okay, whatever. You guys are all crazy. They got little alien shit in their house, and the whole village is like alien little memorabilia. This one old man was walking with an alien staff with a UFO on the top.
Cool.
And this is a village in the middle of nowhere. I mean, like we're 4 hours from a city. This is desert. There's no tourist here, besides actually one other weirdo that was there for the toad. And we went to sleep. And again, this is desert, so it doesn't rain very much. And for some reason, the night that we stayed the night there, it rained. And there's 2 guest houses there, which is just like this little shed that they put us in to sleep. And other tourists was there, and then it was me and my friends, storming all night, which is cool because we're in the desert. It's unique to see that. But we fall asleep, we wake up, and I'm talking to the other tourist, and he goes, "Did you see that huge explosion on the beach?" He's like, a generator or something must have exploded. Like someone must have left it out there running, and when the storm came, it just made their generator explode. So we were eating with the family, and he mentions it to them. What was that explosion on the beach last night? And they go, "Oh, there was no explosion. That was the spaceships coming out of the water."
What?
And that's all they said. They didn't say anything else. And he goes, "What do you mean that's the spaceships?" And he goes, "Well, there's no explosions on the beach. We told you there were spaceships here. You saw the spaceships. They just said it as a matter of fact like that."
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them all kinds of questions. What do they look like? You know, with the aliens? And they say they look like him. And they point to the tourist guy. They're like, they're tall and white.
The toad smoker? That guy?
The indigenous people said that they look like the toad smoking white guy,
Yeah.
and that they wear black suits, and that they also have crystals.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like
They have some kind of crystal that makes in their ship.
like it sounds like Quetzalcoatl or
Yeah.
Kukulkan or Quetzalcoatl. I mean,
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatl. Yeah, that's fascinating.
They all talked about it, and the thing that's crazy is that it's more or less the same area where that Tic Tac was at.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
this is like northeast Mexico?
Northeast of Mexico, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. This is Sonora, but it's in the Bay of California.
Oh, so it's like northwest then.
Wait, yeah, no, yeah, sorry, northeast would be like New Hampshire. Yeah, this is northwest, and the Tic Tac was in the Pacific, right?
You know, I don't know. I think
I think the Tic Tac was in the Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah, off of California, and yeah, the guy told me, he was like, when we're out there on our boats, I know the difference between a manta and the ship, and sometimes you look down there and the ships are going underneath the water.
Wow.
Damn, man! Like this is all the shit that they're saying on the news and stuff about that Tic Tac. That's when this was happening too, and I don't know. It's just weird. It's just like, so these guys are just like some indigenous guys. They hardly speak Spanish, no English, and they're just saying it like it's the weather. And I would love to go back actually and meet them again and go deeper into that. I was only there for like 2 days.
One moment, Alex. He wants to. I'm looking up the Sonora Desert aliens, and the
Did
first
anything
thing
come up?
all Grand Theft Auto alien like locations, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
That it's on purpose, I think.
Wow. Well, that brings me to a point based on what you just said. So something in my mind, I know you're a very busy guy, but like when we started our podcast 4 years ago, I'm not kidding you. I literally had a blackboard back in my old studio, and I would like write down things we had to do, write down recording dates, write down guests I want, write down just all kinds of details, topics we were going to record, all that stuff. And I had your name on that board for a long time. And most names that I've ever had on that board have been on the show now. So it's like, dang, where do we go from here? But anyway, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But the thing,
great. I'm honored.
The thing that I always thought would be really cool if you ever had time for it, was to be with you and to see UFOs with you. Because something we do, Dakota, is it's kind of a long story, but my dad is sort of like the orb guy. He's sort of changed. Do you remember how you're talking about how the rest of the world doesn't have any clue about like the psychic powers, but then you're in India and you see all that stuff firsthand? And, you know, that's kind of like my dad, but with the UFO world. When I was a teenager, you know, people from the CIA or people from NASA would be knocking on our door, like investigating us and interrogating us. And because we reported our experiences on a website that we saw on TV and had no clue it was a CIA thing. Not with the CIA. I'm not a
What
part
do you
of it.
mean? Like
Okay.
you saw something and it was just a CIA?
No. Let me explain. In 2007, my dad started, and my brother. I was 13 at the time. I'm 32 now, as of like what, I guess 2 weeks ago. Happy birthday, me. And so my brother and my dad were out on the. Y'all making me laugh, man. They're laughing at me.
You sound so lonely.
I haven't recorded since my birthday, if you must know. So anyway, 2007, my dad and my brother were out on the Cape Fear River, and they saw these 3 huge balls of fire, orange, massive craft that were pure light. And then my brother saw these entities that were like 3 to 4 foot tall in the woods. They had red eyes. It was like very shocking and horrific for him at the time. He had no clue what it was. My dad gets home. One of those little short entities is in the backyard. By the way, my dad was missing 4 hours, and they had 3 other adult men with them. My brother was 17, and then they had 3 other adult men. They were contractors for my dad. They had just finished building a house, so they went fishing to celebrate out in the woods of North Carolina. So all this stuff, these 3 adult men are looking everywhere for my dad. They're driving the truck around. They can't find him for 4 hours. Then he comes back, and they're like, where the hell have you been? He was taken. And while my dad was gone, there was these, my brother was seeing these entities or whatever. And by the way, NEXT has seen orbs with me. If you can, he's seen some of this stuff too. And shout out NEXT. My dad gets home that night. There's more entities in the backyard, and my dad's like freaked out, and he goes, okay, you got me. I surrender. And they told him telepathically, you don't understand. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you. About 10 months went by, and all of us in my family continued to see things, orbs, entities running around the house, shadow-like activity, poltergeist stuff. It got so bad for my family that my parents almost split up. People called social services on my dad. The pastor came in and was like throwing holy oil on my dad, trying to exorcise him. I was in the room. I saw it. It was horrific. My dad was so distraught that he reported it on a website called MUFON. He saw it on a TV show. It said, if you've had a sighting, go to MUFON.com. He reported it. We had no clue it was a CIA cover-up. It was a front for them to spy on citizens.
Bastards. So they were trying to get people that were having interesting experiences just to collect it?
And shut them down and harass them. Very soon after that, we had a documentary come out in 2008 on the Discovery Channel. It was horrible. It was called UFOs Over Earth, the Fayetteville incident. They faked the lie detector test. They made my dad sit in a chair for like 4 hours. They asked him the same 30 questions over and over and over until he finally got so anxious that there was like a flutter on the needle. And they said, inconclusive. His heart jumped. And they showed that on TV. They did all kinds of stuff like that. They buried the data that they got. They got radiation samples in the yard. It was just it was a shit show. And I'm going to wrap it up here. This is the abridged version. 5 years go by. We're like in a living hell because everyone's making fun of us. We're coming home from school getting laughed at. All of my aunts and uncles and many of my cousins are like, y'all are crazy. You're demonically possessed. You're on drugs. You're dealing with the devil. You're liars, whatever. We're still having experiences. We're still seeing orbs. We're still seeing entities. It's only increased year over year over the last 18 years. Finally, in 2012, my dad comes face to face with her behind me, this floating woman with blonde hair and blue eyes in a white gown. And she basically says, this is your burden. You got to go tell your story. At this point, we had already talked to several people in the CIA, Army intelligence, NASA.
What do they want to know?
They want to know what she wants, what the beings want, why they're coming to us, why the connection.
So they ask you, they take you at face value and just say, okay, what they tell you?
Yeah. My dad had to write it down to be sent to the Pentagon. Barack Obama was briefed on it. It's really a crazy story, dude. And, there's a reason NEXT was like, bro, you got to meet this guy,
Yeah.
But it's a long story for later. I'm giving you the abridged version. She said that she was the divine feminine, that she was the goddess, and that she gave the name Hathor, but she said throughout time she'd been known by many names. And she's the secret missing part of the Trinity, and that basically the age of Aquarius is coming. Go tell your story. And my dad's like, what the hell? He was a Christian. You know what I'm saying? The profound, how shocked we were. And when word of that got out, the CIA swarmed us and they investigated us to the ends of the earth. Every intelligence agency in the world has investigated us in some form or fashion, whether it's in person or remotely.
Investigated you in which way?
Asking us questions, coming to our
Mhm.
property, phone calls, emails.
And you guys are just happy to give it to them? You don't ever say no or nothing? You always...
Well, the thing about my dad is he's a very smart man, and he believes two things. First of all, Southern hospitality. Second of all, it's like a game of chess, like keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. See what people want. Let them come in for a cup of coffee and just listen and smile.
Right.
My dad's belief always, since I was a young child, he always said, son, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So be quiet and listen, just sit there and listen what people have to say. He listens to what everybody has to say. And a lot of people, like we've gotten death threats from people in the DIA and some agencies. And it's like, be gone. And they're not all bad. Many of them are very bad. I'm very open about that on my show. But that's a tangent. The whole point I bring this up is to say what we do now, 18 years later, that we're healed and we kind of understand what we're navigating here, is we continue to see orbs. We see it with crowds of people. We've had crowds of 1,000 people out in public. People come from all over the world, and we do
Where
this
do you guys do this at?
anywhere.
You travel around and do it, or?
Yeah, we travel. We do it at conferences sometimes. That's a new thing.
Do it at conferences, like in a building?
Outside, yeah.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
Explain me, walk me through the experience.
Well, the experience is, it's God. It's a
Mhm.
spiritual phenomenon, right? So, and this is something you can do. You can hang up from this call. You can go to Göbekli Tepe. You can
Mhm.
see it at Göbekli Tepe. Go out at night. Look up at the sky, at the night sky. And first step is you have to know that something is there. You have to, in your mind, call out to, you could say it's Shiva. It doesn't
Yeah.
give a crap what you think what it is. It's something, right? It's God. It's consciousness. It's the
Mhm.
spirit, we're all imagining God. You know that. I know that. We're just connecting with
Whatever form it
that.
makes sense to us. Yeah.
Yeah. So just call out in your mind, send your thoughts to the sky and say, hey, I'm here. I would love to see if you'd be willing to show me something. I'm open. That's it.
And for you guys, it manifest as an orb for your...
Mm-hmm. And other things, like things with wings. I mean, help me out, Alex. What have you seen? Turn off your little kill switch.
I get flashes of light a lot.
And is this a shared experience, or this is something you're personally experiencing?
Both.
Yes. Yeah, both.
Yeah. It's happened with crowds. NEXT was there the night we had 1,000 people in a crowd in California.
And what happened?
Oh, we saw orbs. It was like my dad had a microphone for an hour, and it was like he was a slotted time presenter, and it was evening under the stars, and he did his whole thing. He kind of walked people through the process of connecting with your mind, sending your thoughts up to the heavens, and just being open. The biggest thing is removing your doubt, taking away your skepticism, because it's like trying to do a magic trick, but you don't believe you can do it. You're probably not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to meditate or pray, but what if you're trying to go out of body, but you don't think you can go out of body? Well, duh, you're going to block yourself. It's no different. You have to be open. And what happened that night, we saw several orbs. One of them looked like this glowing light with these fluttering wings. And some of the videos were recorded. I can send you some. I have hundreds of orb videos, but yeah, it's insane. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I had a friend named Clara, and she used to, this was probably 5-6 years ago, she would tell me the same thing, where she would swear she could call these orbs, and she would be showing me these videos of these orbs in her tree outside her house and stuff. Is this the same phenomena?
Yeah.
But she wouldn't refer to it as God. She would say, I don't know, I think she thought they were aliens.
That's fine. You could think what it is, but
right.
I think what's most important is to know that it's positive.
It's a reaffirming a positive thing.
Yeah, but it's a positive phenomenon, that it means no harm, that it's here to help. if you're, wanting to say it's an alien, if you're wanting to say it's God, if you're wanting to say it's a spirit, I think what's
Right.
most important is understanding that it is positive and that it means no harm, and that a lot of that stuff out there is CIA propaganda. I know that for a fact. I've talked to them about it.
They
It's
muddy the waters on purpose, right? Make it
yes,
very confusing.
yeah. It's like Bohemian Grove stuff.
Yeah.
Dark propaganda to destroy people's souls. But it's really a positive thing, the UFO phenomenon. It's 95% experiences are reported to be positive and angelic to the government. That it was told to us by a very high level officer in the CIA. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's positive. And for years now, I had your name on that board. I was thinking, man, how cool would that be to see this stuff with Dakota? Because I believe my mission is sharing this with certain people that I've watched from a distance that I'm like, they have a really good take on things. You never know.
Yeah, I'm down. I would love to see some orbs or to see the woman. I mean, I've seen the woman already, so
Yeah.
no, that would be cool. I mean, what do we do? How do we do it? We just meet up and go out into a field?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the sky's the limit, dude. There's endless
What state are
opportunities.
you guys in? In Texas?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Nice.
Sky's the limit.
Where
Go
at in North
enjoy your
Carolina are
trip.
you?
Wilmington, North Carolina. The beach.
Okay. They used to run the Ramdas Foundation out of North Carolina.
Oh, really?
I forget
And
which
Duncan used to live here. He used to live in Asheville.
Yeah, in Nashville. That's where they did it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know that. That's very cool. You go enjoy your trip to Göbekli Tepe and
Yeah. Well, I just bought a hotel. I bought a hotel next to it.
You bought a hotel?
Yeah, me and my friend have been saving up money for like 3 years, and like last 2 weeks ago or something, we finally bought it, and I'm going to see it for the first time. I mean, it's really beat up and stuff, so it's going to be a few year project, but
That's very cool.
hoping that like Göbekli Tepe becomes famous, and then we can kind of have a nice place right next to it,
That's amazing, dude.
Thanks.
That's very cool.
You guys come out there. We'll do it there. We'll see Göbekli Tepe, the world's first
Yeah, I'm
temple
down
with
with-
orbs.
I'm down with that. We'll go there.
Alex is down with that. Yeah. No, that'd be cool. And something that we want to do, another part of my dad's story. And if you're open to it, I know you're about to travel on a trip and you'll probably be gone for months, but at some point I'd like to send you a copy of my dad's book. But
Yeah,
Egypt.
I'll be home in December.
Oh, cool. Egypt is very central to our story because something that they showed him was the pyramids, these beings. And they said when the red star Regulus aligns with the gaze of the Sphinx just before dawn in the constellation Leo, there will be a new knowledge that will come into the world. And there's going to be a shift in consciousness. So we're like, what the hell? And we went and told NASA, and they were like, hey, that happens in 2026. So we're like, okay, bet. So for 13 years now, because that happened in 2012. So for 13 years now, there's kind of been this mystique building about this whole
Right.
Egypt thing with 2026. So we're kind of talking about like some big Egypt thing next year. Maybe we go to Egypt.
could be
That's
cool.
kind of, yeah. And NEXT and I got to talking about this. And we were talking about some sort of Egypt thing. I don't know. There's no concrete details yet, but
That'd be amazing. Have you been to Egypt before?
no.
I went to Egypt a few times, and man, the pyramids are crazy.
Yeah.
I know, obviously the pyramids are crazy, but like even when you know the pyramids are crazy, they still blow you away. I remember I came to Egypt at night for the first time. I'm by myself, traveling the world for the first time. I'm all, Egypt, oh fuck, like the pyramids. Finally,
Yeah.
As a kid, you're like, that's
I'll
the
never get to see
mystical-
this. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I never even thought in a million years I would get to see it. That's like the dream magic place.
Right.
And you're driving, and Egypt it's Egypt, it's a little beat up, a little rough. And you're driving down one freeway for maybe 30 minutes, and there's billboards and lights, and it's very bright. And then it finally kind of stops. And then you just see desert and the sky and the stars and the moon. And then just silhouettes, giant in the horizon. And the closer you get, the bigger they get. And you just see them from like the moonlight, just these black things in the distance.
It's very
And
magical.
as you get closer and closer and closer, you're like, oh my God, dude, how did they do this?
Yeah.
It
can't
towers
wait.
over the city.
I want to experience this so bad. NEXT was like, yo, me, you, and Dakota should
He's
do
the
a
man.
collab.
I would
But I
love
was
it.
like, but I haven't met him yet. But now that we met, you know, but
I'm always here.
we had talked about some potential thing for the future. But
It would be
yeah,
fun. I would love it.
it would be. It would be very cool. Did you go
And
to
he's the
temple and
Egypt
check
man,
that?
you know?
Yeah, he's like probably the world's best at this.
And he's also like the Turkey guy. I learned a lot about Turkey from his early videos of all those places, Karahantepe
Really?
and that kind of stuff. He's OG.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
is.
legend.
He's very. I kind of had an experience with him, like you had with your friend in India.
Yeah.
The one, you know, I had an experience with him. Like, dude, I need to know this guy.
Yeah,
He knows his shit.
he
He's-
does.
You know, he's really into the Rosicrucian stuff and all that. But
And hip
yeah,
hop.
yeah,
He's cool, man.
He's gonna come out in November and do the show, and we're scheming on some sort of Egypt thing. So, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you let me know, and I'll see if we can make it
alternatively,
work.
wait, no, that won't work. I think you'll be gone till December.
Yeah, I'm gone till December, and then I'm gone again January, February, and March probably. So I
Okay.
probably won't be back into the U.S. until April, springtime.
Well, no worries. We'll figure it out. And in the meantime, your homework is I'm going to send you some stuff. I'm going to send you some videos that I have acquired over the years, either myself or my father or friends. Special mention, I'm going to send you a video from my friend Mela. She's an anime video game voice actress. And she reached out to me because she had one of the most profound orb videos I've ever seen. I'm going to send you that when we hang up. But I'll send you some other things, like a little excerpt from my dad's book that you can look at, and it's kind of like how we connect, you know.
Yeah,
And
send
just
it all over. I'm interested.
anytime ever that you're out under the night sky, look up. Like the spirits don't take breaks.
Right.
They don't take breaks. It's not like you have to.
I'm gonna
be in
try it.
some-
I'm gonna give it a genuine try, and I'm gonna let you know.
Well, hey, you know what? There is no try.
Yeah.
There's
No,
only
that's
do.
okay. You're right. You're right. You just said don't block it, right? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do
only
it.
do. All you have to do, and listen, there is no do. This
Yeah.
is not active. You sit
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
you look
yeah,
at the night sky, and you just even think the thought, man, it would
Right.
be cool to see. And oh, you don't see anything tonight? That's fine. Look out tomorrow. Look out
Right.
the next night. The night sky's there forever and ever.
Right.
And there's always stuff up there that you're not noticing is moving. I promise you, you're going to see something.
I know.
You
I'm gonna
will.
let you know. I'm gonna let you
Yes.
know for sure.
Please do.
And Turkey's got beautiful skies.
Yeah. I've seen things in Germany with my wife. Her family's from Germany. We've seen things in the Grand Canyon. We've seen things around Vegas. We've seen things. I mean, what are some other crazy places? Did we see anything in Mexico? Maybe Mexico. I saw one or two. They're all over the world, dude. They're time
Yeah.
and space.
What
They
is
don't
it?
matter.
Is it dimensional things that are part of Earth, or are they part of just reality? Are they beaming out of just everywhere? Like if we were to go to a different planet, you think you could call them into that space too?
Well, I mean, I don't have all the answers, but what they communicated to my dad is that they come from the eternal world, or as we would say, the spirit world. That when we die, we become as they do. We go into an orb, and that life here is like a journey of the soul. And some of this stuff they told him face to face. Some of this stuff was through hypnotic regression. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where you sort of like start to recall these things in
Yeah.
hypnosis states. But yeah, they said this is the journey of the soul, and it's all an illusion. And a lot of the stuff that's true in Eastern tradition, Western tradition, I'm hearing all this shit as a kid, and I'm like, whoa, I gotta start really digging deep here. So that's kind of why I started the podcast. It's like a journey of learning and sharing it with others. And so
It's amazing.
thank
Is
you
there
for
Yeah, of course. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad we got to finally do it. Is there anything else crazy you want to know? Any other stories you want me to pull out?
I mean, I feel pretty happy with that, man. I do like to end with a question though. And that question is, if you could imagine like everybody was listening, everybody in the world, and you had that microphone and you had the world
shit, you're gonna
stage,
give me, what am I going to say to the world?
what would you say to the world? What's the most important thing? Or it's like if someone had a gun to your head and it's like, what's the most important thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that nugget
okay,
that
okay.
you
Hold on. Let me think. Let's see.
think quick, bang.
It's the Fight Club treatment.
The Fight Club treatment, yeah.
I'm not good at on the spot special messages, but I guess like really what I want to say to the world is kind of what I said earlier. Is just like don't get lost right now, because it's very important. They actually want us lost. They don't want you to know who you are. And there's big forces right now in the world that are doing everything that they can to make sure that you stay unaware. Because the more unaware you are, the more the evil gets to function, the more the corruption gets to function, the more the political world gets to function, the wars get to function, because we are all have no clue who we are.
Yeah.
So to the world, I want everyone, like you're saying, go out, touch the grass, touch the earth, and remember for a second who you are. Remember that you're not this person that's we're in America, we have podcasts. This is all new, and this is all just some temporary thing. We are human beings in a mystery right now, and we forget it because we're having too much fun playing the theater of being modern YouTubers and all this stuff. We're hypnotized fully, but remember, we need to remember who we are, because this identity is not going to save us. And the only thing that's going to save us is the part of us that is behind it. And that's all spirituality is. That's all this stuff is about excavating and getting to that place behind it. All the false identities, the false illusions of the world, that all the hypnosis that we're stuck in, it's about digging past that and getting to that point where the Buddha is pointing to the mystics are pointing to everyone is pointing us to that place. And if I had a moment to speak to the world, I would point them there. If I could, if I can right now, look there.
But don't get stuck on the finger, people.
Don't get stuck on the finger.
Yeah. Look what's past it. No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is, like, for my listeners who might not have heard of you or know who you are, where can we send them?
My name is Dakota Wint. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me in most lives. If you're hearing about me now, then we've been doing this. We've been fist bumping each other for a long time. So yeah, just go to YouTube, check me out. Maybe if you like spiritual rants or this or that, you'll find something cool there.
Yeah. Dakota of Earth.
Dakota of Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Never forget that one. Special mention to my wife, who's been sitting here the whole time, because she put me onto Dakota's channel probably 12 years ago when we started dating. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well,
full circle. Here we are, big family now.
Yeah, man. So hang on the line for just a second. We're going to close it out, and we do that in a very mundane and simple but ritualistic way, where every single time that we remember, we just say bye, guys. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Peace. Om.
Om. Oh, good one. The people that listen to our show are called the Omis.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Peace out, my Omis.
Like, yes. End it there.
And
so they
love
get
from Detroit.